What is up, Nerds Nation? Welcome to the Effin' Nerds Podcast, episode 19. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Nick Denizio, and sitting across from me is my dude, Martin Moreno.
Martin Moreno, fresh in his DC Fandom t-shirt we got from our sponsors, DC Comics.
DC Comics sponsors us now.
That's right. No, they don't. We don't want to get sued. It's just a joke. Relax.
So we got a nice episode for you guys today. But before we get started, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you guys give us a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, please check back each week as we try to upload new content for you guys to listen to. All right, so we're going to kick things off with a little bit of a box office recap, which is the first time we've done this since like March, which is crazy.
Almost like Christmas.
So we got Tenet that came in first or last, depending on if you're inverted or not, at the weekend's box office, making an estimated $20.2 million in the States. The New Mutants followed by earning $3.7 million in its second weekend, with Russell Crowe's Unhinged coming in third place, ranking in an extra $2.2 million. So I think, depending on how you want to look at this, the numbers for Tenet are okay. With everything going on. I think optimistically I expected it to be a little bit better. I was hoping it would come in like maybe past like the 30 mark.
I was in my little brain, I was estimating like anywhere between 30 to 35 million.
Yeah,
that was kind of like where I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking too. And I think there's a lot of people that wanted to sort of, I guess, downplay, like almost trying to spin it in terms of like a negative, but when you take into account that none of the major cities are open when it comes to movie theaters, New York, LA, San Francisco, a lot of those places, like they're still, and those are like where like majority of the money makers are, they're still not open yet. So I you know, it's tough to analyze this until we actually see how Tenet does going forward, how you know, if it drops a lot in its second weekend. And from what I'm reading, I think they're going to try to keep it in theaters for the rest of the year, if possible, especially with the fact that we might not get, I mean, because of this result, I was reading that we might not get new movies now, like going forward. Like they might delay Wonder Woman now, they might delay Dune
because
possibly.
Like, it was Nolan.
Because
like,
it was Nolan.
Nolan can't get your ass in the seat, then maybe who else is
exactly.
not? Who else
you
is
know, but
get,
then
you
it's all a matter of perspective and how you try to like swing it. So it's more of a wait and see kind of thing.
Right. I mean, it's like you said, I feel 20 million without the big markets, I think is kind of like I see that as a win.
Yeah.
I see this as an absolute win.
So that's kind of how I pictured it without the major markets. But it was just so much fun to kind of just get box office again.
Yes.
I don't watch trailers or read reviews, but I'm a huge box office slut. You know, like when you go into Google and you have like your Google top 8.
Yes, your top 8.
Like your MySpace top 8. Like Box Office Mojo was always like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It was always like Pornhub number 1. Then like my email.
I was about to say what's your top?
Yeah, it's like Pornhub. Then like emails and Box Office are like work emails are like swapped between the second and third spot.
Right.
But over the couple months, it's just slowly like falling off.
Yeah.
So to open it again, even though I hate the new format, I forgot.
It's terrible.
I forgot how much I hated the new format.
Oh, it's so bad.
Like once I opened it today, I'm like, oh, I forgot how much I fucking hated this. But it was just cool to see numbers again, and yeah, like you said, wait and see to, you know, how everything else plays out.
Yeah, I mean, Tenet did make, I think it's at 150 plus worldwide so far, which is solid for overseas. I think it's going to do okay overseas. I think like maybe their estimate right now is like 450 for its box office run, and then I'm sure they're going to dump it onto VOD right after that, because I know I keep seeing, you know, whether it's on Twitter or Reddit, there's a lot of people that are saying that they still don't want to go to the theaters. They still don't want to see it. And then also, too, because of a little bit of a backlash against it, because apparently the audio mix it's gotten around everybody that the audio mix is so bad.
Really?
People are like, I'm just going to wait till it comes out in VOD and I could put subtitles on it.
I mean, I was mixed on the movie, but I just feel like that I understand your reservations against seeing the movie in theaters. It's totally fine. But I feel like that is a movie you should experience in theaters if you're up for it. New Mutants, you can wait on VOD for that
you
one.
can actually don't even waste your money. Wait till cable or the inevitable Disney Plus. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You wait for it to drop on Disney Plus like next month,
right? Or
like in 2 weeks, pretty much. So yeah.
So now we're going to move on to some Scream 5 casting news, where Jack Quaid, who this actually like blew my mind. I had no idea who Jack Quaid was until The Boys, and then I looked him up and realized that he's like the son of Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid. And then like after I
really?
after I noticed that, I could see it. I could totally see it.
Yeah, it's literally a perfect blend of the two.
Yeah. So Jack Quaid, who is one of the stars of Amazon's The Boys, has joined the cast of Scream 5. He joins newcomers Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, and returning members Courtney Cox and David Arquette. Scream 5 is set to release in January 2022, with production starting this fall.
Oh yeah, baby.
So it's I really like this. This is awesome. I'm a big fan of Jack Quaid after watching him on The Boys. Haven't started season 2 yet, but I hear it's amazing. And he's obviously a really big part of that. So this is cool.
Yeah.
All for it.
Yeah, I think what's very interesting about the sort of like Scream franchise or whatever is that you always have that one person who's like the horror film fanatic. You know, he's always like when you think of like Scream 1 and Scream 2, that's it's Randy, Jamie Kennedy's character.
Right.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex. Big no-no!
Who makes a brief appearance in the third one via VHS recording, but in the fourth one it's Rory Culkin and Eric. What's his name?
Eric Christian Olsen?
No, Eric.
He was right. I never saw Scream.
Oh, you know?
No, I didn't see Scream 4.
He's the lead singer of Crash and the Boys from Scott Pilgrim.
My name is Crash. These are the boys.
Is that girl a boy too?
Yes.
Oh, bro!
What?
Holy! I just
This?
No, well, yeah, this, but like a little. What's his name? You have to look his name up now. It's like I think it's like Eric Sunders or something. This is really bad restart, but
A few moments later.
A few moments later.
All right, we're back.
all right, we're literally going for just my stupid sanity. But like he connects the worlds of Scream and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World because, like I said, he's the lead singer of Crash of Crash and the Boys. He's got a connection to Rory Culkin, who was Charlie Walker. He was the lead singer, president of the club. And then Kieran Culkin is Wallace.
Right.
So he
Crossover,
baby.
Epic crossover.
A little merging. I love that. I love Scott Pilgrim. I love Scream. I love both movies. But I don't even know what else. Oh, okay. So yeah, how you always have the one sort of role or character in the Scream franchise who's like obsessed with the horror films.
Yes.
Like I said, you had Randy from like the first one, second one. In the fourth one, you had him and Rory Culkin, who were like the leaders of like, it was like the Cinema Club or like the AV Club or whatever.
Right.
And then even in the TV show, the Scream TV show, you had like the one guy who's like, he like runs a podcast called The Morgue, and he works like a hobby shop. He's like this like horror film fanatic. So I feel like Jack Quaid can very much fit into that sort of
Which
role.
you almost assume that he's going to play that guy.
I'm assuming it's either going to be because look, I feel like you have to have that role in the movie. That's
Right.
like a Scream franchise staple.
Yes.
So it's either going to be him, or I think it could also be Jenna Ortega's character, because this guy. I don't know how that guy's dick is very small.
Yeah, Jesus
But
Christ.
but Jenna Ortega's character in You, in the second season of You, also she's like a big movie fanatic too.
Right.
She wants to like direct these short stories, and she's all like artsy and shit. So I can picture either her or him kind of fitting into that role.
Okay.
Like you think of like episode 1 or 2 of Huey, like in that sort of like Best Buy kind of get up working
Yes.
in that store. Just put that in like a Best Buy or like a Target in like the Blu-ray section, selling like the horror movies and shit, you know? So I can definitely picture just kind of regardless of what, I can just picture him really working well in this sort of world.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would assume that this is going to start filming really soon, and they're going to be rounding out their cast, and I'm sure we're going to probably get some more casting news very soon. And, you know, this is still going to hold on to its January 2022 release date. Hopefully, you know, by that point, we're far removed from COVID by the time this comes out. So,
well, I don't imagine this being a lengthy production. So I feel like that January 22 is a safe.
It should be.
It's a very safe. I feel like it's a very. I can't imagine this production being longer than 4 months.
If we get the Scream 5 and it gets delayed, we're in fucking trouble.
Yeah, I can definitely picture this like being like wrapped up, ready to go by within a year from now.
Yeah,
you know, in regular movie standards, so to speak.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, now we're going to move on to some Hollywood nut jobs.
Respectfully.
Respectfully Hollywood nut jobs.
Respectfully Hollywood nut jobs.
So the resumed production of Mission Impossible 7 was made public thanks to an insane stunt by Tom Cruise. The stunt saw the veteran actor riding off a ramp on a motorcycle before safely parachuting back to normal people.
Normal people level.
Dude, this man is insane. This man is crazy. And you know what's really fucked up about this is that I've seen this guy do all these stunts
my
through
God.
every single Mission Impossible movie, from Ghost Protocol all the way through to Fallout. And for whatever reason, this one I was the most nervous for him. You know, and this guy's flown through helicopters. He scaled the building. I saw this,
there's that one picture when he's just sitting on top of the Burj Khalifa antenna.
and he's just looking out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, what are you doing?
And then you see him do it, and like my heart was in my mouth. I'm like, oh my god, he's not gonna pull his shoot. Like, you know, it's crazy.
But the thing is like, I don't even think this is for the movie.
Thanks for the movie.
I don't think so, because there's no way the movie. That's such a cheap staged ramp. Okay, first of all, you did not need the fucking ramp. You could have flown off the cliff.
They could honestly, what they could honestly do is they could just put like fucking like a cliff, CGI cliff in place of that ramp.
Guess that's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's
They
true.
could do that.
That's a very good point.
But yes, no, it looks like an Evel Knievel stunt.
Yeah, it looks like he's like, dude, we're filming again, so let's just do something crazy. Why the fuck not? We're Mission Impossible. I'm Tom Cruise. So it just looked like I was saying, he could have easily just rode off the fucking cliff and then parachuted down. But no, he needs a goddamn ramp to go faster and go higher. Like, oh my god. It's insane. Fucking insane.
Well, the funniest thing I saw was like people thought Tom Cruise was insane, you know, before braving to go see Tenet in theaters. Like his most insane stunt yet. Tom Cruise goes to theaters to see Tenet.
Oh, he went?
Yeah, no. You didn't see that video?
No.
Oh yeah, there's a video out of like him going to see, like I guess because he got to London or wherever they are, they're shooting Mission Impossible 7. He found the nearest theater and he went to go see like Tenet. And this was like before it came out in like the US and stuff. And so yeah, that made like the rounds and it was like
very nice.
Crazy Tom Cruise braves the pandemic to go see Tenet.
Because I was inverted.
Bullshit. No, he was, man. It was a really great move. He was inverted.
So then are we like Tom Cruise?
We're absolutely Tom Cruise.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll take it.
But, you know, with all that said, we are really excited for Mission Impossible 7 and
happy that movies are starting to, you know, starting production back up again. A lot of these films.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So now on to more sequel news, which this one was really unexpected. So according to Sacha Baron Cohen, a sequel to the 2006 film Borat has been filmed and screened for some people in the industry. No plot details have been released and no news whether director Larry Charles or producer Jay Roach are returning. So I saw this, and I actually saw there was a video a couple weeks ago of, it was just some random person driving a car around LA, and they were filming Borat getting filmed by a team that was filming it. I'm like, are they doing Borat 2? And then all of a sudden, like, news just started going crazy about if he's doing a sequel or not. And then there were rumors that he had filmed it already and that he had screened it for film industry insiders. And then I saw today that there are some plot details that came out that he's now this well-known figure in the world. Obviously, you know, going back to the first movie, nobody knew who he was. Now he has all this success. He's famous. And because of his success, he now has to go undercover to interview people.
Oh
and
my God.
And apparently this one's very politically charged. He's going to go into Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently he interviews Mike Pence. He interviews Rudy Giuliani. And yeah, there's going to be...
I feel like we've heard about some of these interviews.
Well, because he did this for that Showtime show where he would just like...
Which is fucking insane.
Which was insane.
Yeah,
and apparently he's doing it...
Died.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I mean.
Could have gotten
now
shot from fucking Secret Service and shit.
Right. So now he's doing it again, but now it's like a Borat movie. And I think they're going to try to get it out before the election.
So it's Borat being Sacha Baron Cohen?
Or it's Borat...
Because Sacha Baron Cohen goes undercover to interview people.
Right. Or it's Borat going undercover as somebody to be... whatever character he's playing as.
That's ridiculous. I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I think the dude is so talented, and I think he can do these like. I just think he's. There's more than meets the eye. Sacha Baron Cohen.
Well, he's a really smart guy.
Yeah, he's a really smart guy. He's a very talented actor. I just think like but again, he wants to do these sort of crazy, risky Showtime undercover, whatever roles.
Yeah.
Fine, go for you, go ahead. But I just think the dude is like, he can do so much more. I feel like he can if he literally put his acting chops to work, he can knock out some like serious like acting roles.
Well, I'm actually glad you said that because he does have the starring role in Aaron Sorkin's movie, The Trial of Chicago 7.
Right, which I'm super excited to see. And I always kind of harness back to like, what would he have done as Freddie Mercury?
Oh,
remember,
I know.
he was originally going to be Freddie Mercury.
Yep.
Eventually, Ryan Malick, who we love, came on, got his Oscar, good for him. But I would have loved to see what Sacha Baron Cohen would have done with that role.
It would have been. It wouldn't have been as glossed over as it was in Bohemian Rhapsody. That I think the movie Sacha Baron Cohen was gonna make was gonna be really fucked up, and more true to Freddie Mercury's story.
Well, I mean, good, because hey, despite that amazing final scene and Ryan Malek's performance, that movie is a fucking mess.
It is.
But yeah, this sounds nuts.
Come on, let's get nuts.
And kudos to them for keeping it under wraps.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I guess we'll get more news when we get it.
Yeah, before we move on, I remember going to see Borat in theaters in 2006, and I remember it being like an event. Like I remember the theater being packed, and people were going wild watching that movie. Like just one of the funniest experiences I've ever had going to a theater.
I still remember that whenever the Borat trailer would come on, the movie theater lit up.
Which is
yeah, they were like looking forward to that movie
Yes.
trailer, and every single time he comes on, like smiling
from
screen.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, like.
Yakshimash. My name is Borat. I like you. I like sex. It's nice.
Like that's the movie theater just right away just like lit up, started laughing, and yeah, I remember that too. I don't believe I saw it in theaters, but I remember just watching that movie and just fucking dying. The part that always gets me, which is just not that funny, is just the part when he's like arguing with the short fat guy on like outside.
It's supposed to be like his assistant or something.
Yeah, outside the Chinese theater, and then the guy in the Grim Reaper costume comes up and he goes, "Fuck off, Dad."
Fuck off, Dad.
That part fucking kills me every time. It's so good, but yeah, love that movie, and also the Gypsies.
Yes.
When he's throwing the money at the roaches, oh my god. And he's like, how much did you pay for this, Gypsy? Or like whatever. When he's talking to the lady.
Do not fear me, Gypsy. All I want from you is your tears.
Oh my god, so crazy, but so good.
I know. Hopefully the sequel lives up to the hype. Mm-hmm. So we had mentioned the Trial of Chicago 7. There's also another big high-profile movie coming to Netflix this fall, and it's Mank, directed by David Fincher.
Yes.
So the first images for Mank have been released. The film follows celebrated screenwriter Herman Mankiewicz, played by Gary Oldman, as he races to finish the screenplay for Orson Welles' iconic movie Citizen Kane. The black and white photos properly capture an aesthetic of the 1930s and 40s Hollywood and shine a spotlight on Gary Oldman's Mank and Amanda Seyfried's Marion Davis. The film has no release date, but is set to premiere on Netflix sometime this fall.
Boom.
So these were awesome. It's been a while since we've had a David Fincher movie, not since 2014, since Gone Girl. It's been a while. I know we say that a lot, but it has been a while. And I am really excited for this, obviously, and I hope the photos are true to what the movie is. I really want it to be in black and white because that just sets the tone, and I feel like it's appropriate considering they're focusing on Citizen Kane, which is a notoriously black and white film. Mm-hmm. And the whole aesthetic, its look, the setting, it looks perfect, and it looks very David Fincher. So I cannot wait.
I can't remember what it was exactly, but I was trying to show you something on my phone, so I pulled up my phone and started scrolling, and then those pictures popped up, and it stopped me like dead in my tracks.
I was like, oh my god.
I was like, oh, and you're like, what? And I'm like, make photos. Yeah. The thing is, like, I totally forgot about this fucking movie. Like, I remember it was announced last, I believe, like fall around this time, I think, that it was going to start shooting very soon, like within the next month or so. And obviously, being a Fincher movie, I was like excited. I was like, yes, I'm ready for like another Fincher movie. And then obviously the shit show that this year has been, everything's just kind of, gone forward or backwards. I don't even know. Just, everything's just mush. Everything's like, I've just kind of forgotten about so much stuff. So to get these pictures was like a nice surprise, and a nice like reminder, like, oh right, this movie's coming out. It's coming out soon. And yeah, like you said, it looks incredible. The David Fincher style or cinematography, whatever you want to kind of say about it, is very specific. Mm-hmm. It's not, I mean, yes, it is your kind of sort of cold gray that we get in a lot of movies, but there are certain moments that is very focused on color. Like, it's very color dependent. Mm-hmm. Especially yellow, how we talk about he loves yellow.
Right.
But like I kind of think of that Gone Girl scene when Nick is in the courtroom and like Amy's parents are there and like all the media's there. Like, there's like a very dominant sort of like light brown or off brown presence in the kind of frame. Yeah. But then Nick is wearing like, I believe it's like a light blue shirt or something. I can't really remember. But like those color choices help the character stand out. It kind of like he makes those sort of stylistic.
Yeah. His visual input's very, very specific, and his color palette's always great. And there's because like if you if you look at like how directors choose their visuals and stuff. So if you're, not to get too much like a teacher, but like, if you look at like a color wheel, usually when you pick colors that are opposite of one another, they help stand out. That's why a lot of times on like a movie poster, you see like an orange and teal kind of scheme,
right?
Because it's very visually appealing to the eye. Brown and aqua are like another one where it's like they're two opposites, but when you put them together, they're very visually appealing. So it's funny that you say like the brown, he's wearing like a lighter blue suit, because that just makes it pop more. It's visually appealing.
Exactly, and that's just kind of the sort of sensitivity that he has when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to his color palette, when it comes to his cinematography. And like we were saying, when it comes to like the cold grays and stuff, and the sort of like off yellows and whatnot, which is also kind of seemed like as a neutral color. Like, yeah, he kind of already has experience with that sort of department. So now take it even further and go black and white. And I want to see what he's going to do with the sort of like black and white. Well, we still don't know if it's going to be in black and white.
Right. We're just assuming.
We're just kind of hoping and assuming that it is. That would be awesome.
And then also too, just because like we love movies.
I love movies.
I also love movies about making movies.
Gosh, I love movies.
So
I feel like this is just going to be like it's just going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's from what I read, it's a bit of a passion project. He's been trying to make this movie for like almost 20 years,
which is crazy.
Exactly. If you're talking about Fincher, who's had an idea in his mind for 20 years, are you kidding me?
That's a lot.
Come on, like
that's got to be torture.
Yeah, and how do you not want to see it?
Right.
And another like fun fact is that his dad, I don't know if you saw this, but his dad is writing the script, which is really nice.
I feel like I did see that.
Yeah, his dad was like apparently like a newspaper writer or something. He's the one who's going to be penning the script for this movie,
That's
which
fucking
is
awesome.
Yeah, it's like father and son. I mean, I don't know what that's like. I've never met my dad, but yeah, that must be like a fun kind of project to tackle together. Obviously with your dad.
This is awkward.
But yeah, everything about this movie just I forgot that it was happening. I got reminded, and now I'm ready.
And we also love Gary Oldman, so the fact that he's kind of leading this is just going to be great.
Yeah, come on, Commissioner
fucking
Gordon,
doesn't love Gary.
Yeah, but this is Mankiewicz. This kind of ruined his career, right? Wasn't he like pretty much?
You know what? I probably should have done a little bit more research on this. I don't know too much about like the background of this,
because I'm just kind of pulling from my memory from last year when the movie was announced and some of the details that were announced. I could have sworn that I remember someone or reading about it last year that this was essentially like all the trouble that went on between like fighting for the writing credits and all that stuff between him and Orson Welles, like tainted his career pretty much, and essentially like almost made him unhireable after that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I could be wrong. But I'm just trying to dig deep into my brain.
Well, it's definitely an interesting aspect if that's the case, and it's pretty cool that they're going to spotlight on him to kind of show that side of history.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Definitely. Okay, so before we move on to our main topics, we got one more left to dig into, and it's the No Time to Die trailer. So a new action-packed trailer for Cary Fukunaga's No Time to Die has been released. The film marks Daniel Craig's fifth portrayal of James Bond and is scheduled to be released in theaters this November after being delayed earlier this year due to the coronavirus. We were talking about this a little bit. You have your reservations for this, but I think that this was a better trailer than the first trailer. I think it just showed a lot of crazy action, showed a lot of different locations, which look really cool. And like, I'm hoping for the best because I love Daniel Craig. I love him as James Bond, and I really hope that this sends him off the right way.
And I love Cary Fukunaga.
Yep.
The guy's a stud. He's up there on my top 10 man crush list. I still haven't finished Maniac, but from what I've seen, I haven't been too crazy about Maniac. But yeah, like you said, I do agree with you that it's a better trailer than the first one. However, for some crazy reason, I just feel like this, like I'm not getting any sense of like life or identity from this movie.
Do you think your knowledge of all the behind the scenes issues plays into that a little bit?
No, because I mean, we've seen a bunch of movies with behind the scenes issues that put out great trailers.
That's very true.
So I mean, it's not that. I'm just kind of just based off the trailer and just the way I kind of connected to it was that I just I just feel like there's for me there was just nothing really there to like hold on to. It just feels like I'm a little worried that it's going to be kind of like a not so much like Spectre, because I feel Spectre was dull and lifeless, but
yeah,
I feel like this is going to be like kind of like almost just the spectacle and not so much kind of
the heart and story.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of just from these two trailers is kind of what I've gotten.
Right.
And
I mean,
that's my worry.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you on that because this trailer's selling you on the spectacle. So my hope is that, you know, there's more to it than what the trailer just shows.
And it is some spectacle, bro.
I was gonna say, man, some of the action scenes look insane.
Beefy from an action standpoint.
Absolutely.
And Ana de Armas, you goddess.
Yep.
That is a woman. That is a woman. And
it's also just really cool seeing those two like have a scene together after watching Knives Out.
And you know that's gonna be literally the only scene that she's in. Everything
is just
is that dress
and the two machine guns.
Yeah, and that like setting.
And her kicking ass, and that's
so
it.
He's gonna come in. They're gonna have some cool, suave conversation. She's gonna like be all badass, and they're gonna have a crazy action sequence. And then she's gonna be like, "All right,
peace.
I gotta go make out with Batfleck. See you later."
All right, now we're going to move on to our main topics, and I feel like we've talked about this a lot, but there's just constant development, and it's getting a little bit ugly now. So, Rey Fischer, as we all know, has been in a battle with DC over some discrepancies over the Justice League reshoots with Joss Whedon. So
John Berg and Jeff Johns.
So there's been a lot going on, but the latest development is a big support for Rey Fischer. So Jason Momoa has taken to social media to show his support of Rey Fischer's current battle with Warner Brothers. The Aquaman star posted a photo of Rey Fischer with the hashtag I support Rey Fischer. This comes after a statement made by Warner Brothers saying that Fischer has been uncooperative with the investigators handling the Justice League on-set issues. Fischer fired back on Twitter with photos of emails showing otherwise. This is just like... It's like a bad divorce. It's just oh God, you know. And you know, I'm still with Rey Fischer. When this story broke, a lot of people were jumping off, you know, his side and being like, well, if you're not cooperating, you must be telling bullshit.
It looked bad for a second.
It did look bad for a second. I won't lie.
Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
But it was just weird that they were coming out and saying this, but then I also remember that studios love to just push out bullshit to show that they're. You know, I remember going through the whole Zack Snyder thing of him supposedly getting walking off when he probably in reality got fired, and they put out that bullshit PR statement saying that, oh, he's leaving, but he picked Joss Whedon to fill in when that wasn't the case at all. That was such bullshit.
And that pissed me off too.
You know, but Jason Momoa coming in support is
massive.
Huge, man. Because
it is massive. Like, I mean, good for him.
For all kinds of reasons. One, because Rey Fischer probably doesn't have a job with Warner Brothers anymore, but Jason Momoa absolutely does. Between Aquaman 2, Dune, and you know he's got like that Snowman movie with John Berg and Jeff Johns,
who are like in the midst of this sort of battle or whatever it is.
Right, exactly.
So it's the thing that kind of upsets me is like, all right, we're still trying to get the nitty-gritty details or whatever. But we were literally just praising Walter Hamada like in the last episode.
Yep.
So if a lot of stuff is true and he's out here kind of trying to like change the narrative to make certain people look good.
That doesn't look good.
Yeah. So then it's like, okay, so are we just still in the same bullshit of having these certain people in charge?
Right.
That's like that's my biggest sort of takeaway from this. Obviously, my second takeaway is the fact that look, Jason Momoa. We were just kind of talking about how he was relatively quiet and why he wasn't at DC fandom was a little weird.
Yeah.
But especially since he's not one to be quiet, we know how much, whether it's like certain political stuff or activism, the whole like telescope on Hawaii, like that whole situation.
Yeah. He's
very outspoken. And there's obviously, Rey Fischer really hasn't had any support from any Justice League members.
Of like the main cast.
Right.
He's had stunt people come out.
Exactly.
He's had extras come out.
Understandably so, because like you said, like NDAs, maybe some other projects in the works. Like they're probably, I'm sure... I mean, I don't know. I assume that they would probably want to support him if this is true, but they're probably being advised not to.
Not to, yeah.
But obviously, he's just Momoa, baby. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. He's like you said, I'm gonna be in Aquaman 2. My movie made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Come at me.
Replace me.
Yeah. Come at me, bro. I'm gonna be in Dune. It's gonna be the most anticipated movie of the year. I don't give a fuck. And he just comes out here and he supports Rey Fischer. I love it. You love to see it. But at the same time, it's like that's like my biggest thing that I can't get over. It's like if we still have these assholes in charge, then how are we going to move forward?
Yes.
You know? So
right.
Obviously, we still don't know the gritty details of it. I feel like there is some sort of truth to both sides. Because obviously, the investigator, I bet in his mind, he wants to make Warner Bros. Look good.
Right.
I would imagine so. Because even Fisher said, you got to worry about who are paying the people. Who are the ones writing the checks.
Yes.
Because like... I want to make sure my boss looks good because I want to cash in that money.
Right.
You know, so
well, and we also know that Hollywood is not exactly the nicest place in the world. You know what I mean?
It's,
so
it's vicious.
It's vicious.
It
It's
is
cutthroat.
a vicious
and
workplace.
it's all about money. And when it comes down to all about money,
exactly,
you'll fucking cut someone's throat for anything. You know what I mean? Like,
so if they're out here saying like he's not cooperating, and then he's out here, I believe his email was like he wanted to go into detail, but he didn't because of like legal issues. So then, so he's essentially saying like, look, I spoke to them, but I didn't really go into details, which then could be seen from the investigators
as not cooperating.
As not cooperating, exactly. So then they reported that back to Warner Bros. And they go with that. So it's like, and then this whole notion of like,
this is what I mean. Like, why are we doing third-party investigators? Like, get in a fucking room, sit down, and talk about
that's
this shit.
That's what he was saying of how like you want essentially because when he posted out that live Instagram video, which was also kind of brought to light. I
was saying you saw that, right? How he talked about how like Jeff Johns like called him up on the phone and was basically gloating how there's another cyborg. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he said that. He's like, he let out a little bit more details that I think this was after like Justice League, and that, you know, he said in the past that Jeff Johns has made threats to his career. And apparently when they were filming Doom Patrol, Jeff Johns called him up and was kind of like gloating that they were using Cyborg in another project. And obviously that another project was Doom Patrol. And it's you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, people want to choose who they want to believe, but it is very strange that Cyborg is in Doom Patrol and not like it's like why did they put Cyborg? Not that I'm saying that, you know, I mean, I am siding with Ray Fisher, so it's just weird to me that
like
they put
it just as a fuck you.
Exactly. That why because Cyborg isn't in Doom Patrol like in the comics or anything, but he's
not that I know
of either, but he is in the show.
I'm very familiar though with the Gerard Way run. I'm not too familiar with like the with the runs of like the 80s and shit.
Yeah, but he's good in the show. Like I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but it's just weird that he ended up in Doom Patrol for whatever reason and not Titans.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I get that.
It makes it a little suspicious.
I didn't see that. Yeah. That's kind of fucked up. What I was talking about was when he was pretty much just like walking down his like neighborhood or whatever, and he was talking about how one of the reasons for the third party is because you have to make sure that the people who are getting paid are doing like the job fairly. So it's like, so you don't want to bring in someone from Warner Brothers because they're obviously going to favor Warner Brothers.
You have to hire somebody that has no ties.
That's kind of what the third party. That's kind of what I got from it. But yeah, I just also the thing came out that apparently Walter Hamada said like, okay, I'll throw John Berg and Whedon under the bus if you make amends with Jeff Johns. I also saw that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so apparently that's what Walter Hamada said in a meeting with him, because he said that he went into a meeting with Walter Hamada to talk about his involvement in the Flash movie, which apparently was offered to him. But he said that he didn't take it because he felt that the way his character was being represented in the movie, it was just something that he didn't agree with.
Yeah.
Kudos to him for having those balls, because
especially at being like a young actor and trying to make it in Hollywood.
Exactly. You're trying to pull the strings and mandate the storytelling. I was like, all right. I mean, kudos to you, bro.
Yeah.
But from that meeting, something else that kind of came up was that, well, for starters, obviously the fact that he was offered the job kind of says some things.
Right.
But then the fact also that he kind of came out, he said that apparently, allegedly.
What I had meant to say was allegedly.
Hamada was like, look, we'll focus on Whedon and Berg, but if you make amends with sort of Jeff Johns.
Right.
And that to me is kind of interesting because Jeff Johns right now does have his foot in a lot of sort of creative projects.
I was going to say, he's still very much a big part of DC.
He's a co-writer of Wonder Woman 1984.
Right.
He's still show running Stargirl, which has gotten rave reviews. I've seen like 3 episodes and I really liked it.
Yeah, he's supposed to be writing the Green Lantern Corps show.
Exactly, for HBO Max.
Right.
So it's like these little things that keep coming out that in a way, if you look at it from like a larger perspective, from like a broader picture, it does kind of have some weight to it. So like that's my thing. It's like we were just over here praising Walter Hamada, and I just hope it's not the case where he's like where we're still getting these certain people on board.
Right. And it's not that I'm trying to side with the evil corporation, but it's one of those things.
That reference.
I know you got the reference, right? But it's one of those things where I not that I see it from that, but I also look at it as a business perspective, because from Ray Fisher's point of view, like he hasn't come out to everything that Jeff Johns said, so we don't know how far it goes in terms of him being abusive. But at the same point, it's like Jeff Johns is so deeply integrated into DC, they're not just going to up and fire him because he had arguments with one of the actors of one of the DC
and these
movies.
are some of these characters are his characters.
You know what I mean? So as
Like,
fucked
he
as fucked up
created
as that
some of
might
these
as
characters.
fucked up as that might sound, that's just the reality of the situation.
Right, and I don't know, like you were saying from a business standpoint, I don't know if he legally can make the call on whether they can use his. I guess not. I guess that's mostly DC's in charge.
Yeah,
owns the
well,
characters.
and also too because Warner Brothers owns the brand, so they
Right,
probably
right.
can just do whatever they want,
True.
regardless of whether or not a creator made it or you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's like they own rights, so they can do whatever they want.
Right,
pretty
so
much.
I guess that doesn't really matter. But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
the fact that he's essentially like serving as almost like showrunner or creative lead on a lot of stuff, just I don't know. It's
right. I was gonna say short of Jeff Johns being like racist towards Ray Fisher or something. You know what I mean? Like unless
Was that a thing?
No, it wasn't a thing. But I'm saying like short of him doing that, like we've all had asshole bosses before, like and you know what I mean? Like if it's tough. It's tough for me to say because like I don't know like what grounds you have like a moral obligation to get rid of somebody because of them being not having a good relationship with their employee.
Gotten cussed out many times.
Right, but
many times.
But that's my thinking. So it's like I don't like we
And I always
just
tell
don't
Bob
know.
to go fuck himself.
You
So,
do.
I guess.
So there you go.
Shit, now we're gonna be all over the
I
Twits.
know, right? You see that?
Damn, effing nerds turmoil.
Right. So that's my thinking of it. I definitely still side with Ray Fisher. I'm with him all the way on this until I see otherwise. You know what I mean? And the fact that Momoa is now backing him just gives him way more credibility.
Yeah, I just think we've kind of just seen what a kind of like proud, emotional dude he is, and I'm sure that just meant the world to him.
Yeah.
The fact that he was
100%.
out, that he stepped out and supported him, and even if it was just something small and subtle as just like a picture with the hashtag. But yeah, I just love him. He just gives no fucks. He's like, I'm making this movie with Jeff Johns and John Burke, who you're shitting on, but I got you, bro.
Right.
Like, dude, love the dude.
He's the best. But yeah, but we're with you, Ray. Stay strong, bro. Stay strong. We're gonna stay on some controversy here, and we're gonna talk about the Oscars. So the Oscars dropped some new qualifications for like almost like criteria, like some bullet points that you have to hit in order to be nominated for Best Picture.
I'm thinking of the No Jumper Girls when she's like, it was Odell Beckham. She's like, oh, bombs.
I was listening to
Those
headphones.
diabolical bitches.
Those diabolical bitches. Their hoary knows no bounds.
Love you, KFC Radio. You keep us going.
So these are interesting, and I'm not going to go over like the entire like sheets of the qualifications, but basically what it is from it's like an A through D like list. A is like the casting, B is the production, C is like the marketing, and then D I think is like another aspect of it. And basically what it says is that your movie has to have more inclusion, whether it's from women or
people of color, race,
gay people, you know what I mean, like just all these. So it has to have some sort of inclusion. Naturally, when this news dropped,
LGBTQ,
yes, right, the proper terminology.
Yes, we're classy here.
I'm gonna get canceled now. So
well, Bob's already working on a lawsuit against me, so regardless, we're fucked.
So basically all this stuff came out and the internet exploded. Naturally. Well, not the internet, just Twitter, because Twitter's a fucking cesspool of bullshit. So this happens and I saw it, and before I wanted to have an opinion on it, I wanted to read everything about it and understand it properly, so I'm not just reading headlines and making assumptions. I don't have a problem with any of this, really. I really don't. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Now, my initial reaction when I heard this and I read the headlines was, this is a problem because what you're doing now is you're forcing filmmakers to make movies a certain way and with certain characters in your movie. You know what I mean? With certain people in your movie, and it's like, I'm thinking of movies like Saving Private Ryan, for instance, right? Saving Private Ryan does not meet these qualifications, so therefore we're
even though it lost Best Picture.
Even though it lost Best Picture, but
it just should have won.
But if these implications were in when Saving Private Ryan got made, it wouldn't have been nominated.
Correct.
So that's an issue for me. You know what I mean? Because that's a fantastic movie. So now you're basically saying that this could be the my whole thing was, if you make a movie and it ends up being the greatest movie ever, right? Everybody watches it, they fucking love it. Greatest movie ever. It doesn't get nominated because it doesn't meet these criteria. But a lesser movie that does meet this criteria, that's nowhere near as good, can get nominated.
Right.
So that's my problem. But what I'll say about this is that reading these qualifications and these things, the industry is different now. or it's starting to change.
It's like about time.
It's about time it's starting to change, and people have been saying this is now going to force it to change. It might force it a little bit, but I don't think it's too much because more steps are being taken for inclusion on movie sets, for inclusion in the cast. You know what I mean? Like, and this is one of those things where it's like, if you have a movie that's based on history, right? So think about something where it's like there might just be a movie where it's mainly white actors. Think about like Bohemian Rhapsody, right? It's predominantly like
or
white.
Mank.
Or Mank. That's just how it is. That's how history was. You can't change history for inclusion because that's just not how it was. But from behind the camera, that's a different story. Or from a marketing department, or who works in the studio system, that's a different story.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I really don't have any issues with this. I think it's fine. I think it's good. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you don't notice things like this anymore. At least if you don't care about it. Like look at Dune, right? Dune's got is probably one of the most diverse casts we've seen, but I don't. It doesn't matter to me. It's just look at all these great actors. You know what I mean?
Like, we got Parasite, completely non-white and just wreck shop. You think of the last, since Ang Lee, all those Best Director Oscar winners. It was Ang Lee, Alfonso Cuarón, Guillermo del Toro, Alejandro Iñárritu.
Right.
Like just last year again with Bong Joon-ho, like majority. If you take the majority of the actors since like Ang Lee, Best Directing Oscar winner since Ang Lee, like majority of them are not like. Or non-white, so to speak. And I'm with you. I've talked about before of how it does matter, kind of senior people on the big screen, kind of what has happened with Star Wars sort of recently, of how they're pushing all these sort of Latinos on the forefront,
right? Which
is fun to see. And yeah, I do get it. Like, I don't really like saying the word forced, but I mean, I can't really think of any other word. But it's like you said, there's kind of two ways of going about this. Like let's say hypothetically speaking, you had a script for like a movie and it's like a great idea and it's mostly like white actors, doesn't really have any diversity in the role, and this movie's been sitting on the shelf for a couple of years. It comes out 5 years from now and it's either two things. If it's fantastic film and it doesn't meet the qualifications, then look, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that it's not going to be nominated, that it can't be nominated for Best Picture,
right?
Or, which I think it's something that could possibly come from this, it kind of forces you as a storyteller to then approach things differently.
Right.
How can you rewrite your script to include, diversity? How can you rework your story or see it from a different point of view so that you can include and meet these sort of requirements? And if not, if you don't want to change your script, if you don't want to change your story, then hey, let's go out here and hire, let's get behind the camera, let's get the proper people involved, let's get more diversity behind the scenes. And yeah, it's like you said, at first, I kind of felt like it wasn't really like genuine.
Yeah.
I felt like they were just kind of doing it just because of all the backlash that's come towards the Oscars.
Well, I feel like it's also that too. So, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but one of the things I was thinking about is, with these not that I have a problem with them, but at the same point, it's somewhat. It feels like they're trying to put a Band-Aid on things without really making a difference. And what I mean by that is the biggest issue with the Oscars is that for the longest time, they've been predominantly like old white guys.
Yeah, that's literally what it is, old white guys.
Like the voters are old white guys.
Yeah.
Or old white ladies. You know what I mean? Like
old white people.
Like very, very out of touch.
A lot of white.
Yeah, a lot of white.
Oh, it's white. You never told him it was white.
So just in general, just the people, regardless of what their race is, just very out of touch people, not in tune with what mainstream moviegoers like nowadays. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of times when the Oscars come around, most people don't watch them because they don't know what the fucking movies that are nominated are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So the change, for me at least, like while I don't care about these guidelines, and also it's the Oscars. Like the movies I like don't get fucking nominated anyway, so I can give a shit what the Oscars do. They could cancel the Oscars. I wouldn't give a fuck. But at the same point, it's like,
please don't cancel the Oscars.
If you really want to make a change, it should have been from the voting standpoint, not so much these guidelines. That's at least the way I look at it. I feel like it should have been more the voting and getting a fresher perspective, getting more diverse voters in there, because that's really what's going to nominate.
Wasn't that what they were doing though? Weren't they bringing like younger and more diverse voters?
That's what I assume was like the plan to start doing, and I think that's what they were doing. But I think, like I saw last year, it's still a predominantly white voting branch or whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But even still, it's like that to me is where you make the change, because if you have the people if you have the right people in place for voting, the right movies will get made. And at the same point too, it's like
Get nominated.
Get nominated. But I was forward thinking in terms of getting made, because like everyone always attacks the Oscars when they don't nominate, enough, diverse types of movies. Maybe it's because the studios aren't making enough of them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they should be attacking the studios for not putting the money into more projects that have diverse casts, that have, all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like, I'm looking at it from all other aspects that are issues within the industry. Like,
right.
The Oscars, I feel like, is just like the Band-Aid to Hollywood not being diverse enough or not being inclusive enough.
Right. But also, like I was saying, like how you made those great points, almost how I felt like it wasn't really genuine. For all we know, there were people behind the scenes who have been fighting for like years trying to get these changes made.
I'm sure there have been.
So it may have not seemed, like you said, it may not have seemed genuine. It might have just seemed like a Band-Aid, but in reality, it was completely not that. And it was a big win for some of the people who have like constantly been.
Yeah, and there are definitely people that are championing this,
Right.
and I think it's rightfully so. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I just talk about in terms of like how we see it from like a general audience, like outside the bubble standpoint. Like this is just kind of how we see it. That may not be the case, and that's totally fine. And look, I'll accept the fact that like, look, I'm wrong. That's not really it. You're seeing it that way. It's fine. But like you said, like I'm happy for this. I'm all about this, and we got a couple years. Yeah. So people start getting ready, baby.
Well, no, and that's the thing too, is that I also feel like that the people that are freaking out about it, like most movies that are made today will still qualify. Like most movies that have been nominated in the past for Best Picture, like the past couple years, like I would like to see a breakdown as to what movies would have not made the cut had these implications been in place for like the last 10 years, say. But I feel like more lately, most of these pictures that are being made are fall under these guidelines.
No, totally.
You know what I mean? Like I think even like the most hated Best Picture winner in history, Green Book will get nominated still because it meets that criteria. Apparently, if you go by these new guidelines. And then, just looking at some of the movies that we're excited for, Dune, like I was saying before, that meets the criteria. Tenet, which is probably Nolan's most diverse cast, and then even behind the camera, he's got he had a lady do the editing for him this time, around, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like...
Doesn't she... Oh, wait, no, that's Marty's course. Marty always works with that one lady.
Thelma Shoemaker.
Yes.
Legend. Yeah. Absolute legend. But you know what I mean? So I feel like, for people that are flipping out about this, I feel like a lot of these are starting to become more of the normal place for this kind of inclusion. I feel like it's happening. So...
Right.
Like I don't see why people are freaking out. I feel like that you just need to.
I think a lot of people from when I saw it's just that there are a lot of people are just freaking out over like the sort of like strong arming people now that they have to meet these requirements. But like I said, I don't really see it as like I understand what they're saying, but I don't really necessarily see it from that point of view. I kind of now see it like, okay, now you have to think differently. Like how can I rework my storytelling? How can I rework my characters to meet these? It almost challenges you as a storyteller to then like, okay, how can I redo this to meet those requirements, so to speak?
Right. But I also think that's why they have multiple guidelines that you have to meet. Like in terms like you only need to hit 2 out of the 4 apparently out of these 4 big bullet points that they have. So it's like, so if your cast is supposed to be predominantly white because you're meeting some sort of story aspect, whether it's historical or somebody's vision, that's fine. You can have a white cast, but you need to hit these other ones. So
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's why like I don't see it being that bad.
Yeah, because then again, if you just really can't find it, and look, I'm not a professional writer at all, but I do like to write, and yeah, if there's certain visions that you just can't sort of break away from, then fine. You're not going to meet this criteria, but then you got to focus on meeting the other ones.
Right, exactly.
And if you don't want to, then guess what? You're not going to nominate for this picture. It's that simple.
Yes, and I think the thing that I'm more excited about is the behind the camera aspect, because I feel like you have like a lot of great talent, whether it's cinematographers or editors or production designers, and it's like, I think one of the big things was that there's not a lot that are getting looked at in terms of like, whether it's women or, diverse, it's just like, it's not like you've had this, especially with like main directors usually work with the same people every single time. And that causes not a lot of people to get looked at in terms of, that side of the camera. So that's the other thing that I like about it, is that it gets more people involved behind the camera.
Cool.
That have a lot of talent.
Yeah. I processed it. We talked it out. I'm like happier. I feel like a little better now that we actually did kind of get talked.
Yeah.
The guy got like a little bit more insight, and I'm all about this. Like I'm all in.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, again, fuck the Oscars. I hate the Oscars. I really
like
do.
the Oscars.
You know why I hate the Oscars? Because
Dark Knight didn't win.
Because Dark Knight didn't win.
Mad Max did. I knew you were gonna say Mad Max Fury Road. You petty bitch.
Fuck the Oscars.
I knew it.
My movies never win.
I like the Oscars. It's fine, but I'm all about these changes. I had some time to, like I said, when it first came out, I was like, are they just trying to like be? I gave you a great metaphor yesterday, which I'm not gonna bring it up again. But like, are they?
Bro, give me the metaphor.
No, remember I told you about Chris and the restaurant, the guy like that. It was that guy. Like it was that.
right.
Like I'm like, are they just trying to put a Band-Aid on it, like you said? But after thinking about it and really kind of processing and taking it in, I stopped looking at what people were saying because I'm just like these.
Well, because you just get assholes.
Exactly.
You get these keyboard warriors that are sitting at home and they're just typing whatever the fuck they want.
And I'm just like, you know what? You can keep your opinions. I'm gonna head out. SpongeBob finger gun out the door. But yeah, I'm all about this. I'm all in for this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But still, fuck the Oscars.
No, not fuck the Oscars. And these will pretty much be into effect once we make our big break into Hollywood. So then, bro, we'll be dual directors. So we're already meeting the one criteria.
We're meeting the criteria,
We got like the 50%.
Yes.
Look at this.
We got the half and half.
It was made for us.
See that? See that?
We're good to go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our main event has come. The first trailer for Denis Villeneuve's highly anticipated Dune has finally been released.
Oh my God.
This beefy trailer gave us way more depth to look at.
Oh my God.
Between the star-studded cast led by Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaacs, and Rebecca Ferguson, among others, as well as the film's massive sense of scale, the sci-fi epic is set to hit theaters later this year on December 18th, 2020, but probably not.
Bro, I had to call someone. I had to call a hotline because I've had a nerd erection lasting longer than 4 hours.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, I just don't want to.
Nothing I can do. I am in Bombay, India.
Oh, okay. No, not you personally. I just don't want to have an erection anymore.
This movie looks incredible. Incredible.
So, for starters, I don't even know where to start. Maybe let's start with the visual look. Cinematography's Greg Fraser, who is also shooting The Batman.
Oh, yeah.
So dude's crushing it right now.
Yeah.
Dude's crushing right now.
He's on top of the world.
He's on top of the world. And the visual aspects of this movie look amazing.
Sense of scale.
The whole 9 yards. And also the fucking sandworms.
The color palette,
Yeah.
I was thinking towards the end, we're just going to talk about it and it'll just come as it comes. As it comes. But I was thinking about it when we got the shot of sandworm at the end, I was like that, and I felt to me a little bit like it was just fan service. Like, all right, here's a shot of the sandworms.
Well, it absolutely was fan service because you have to show them. You have to.
No, but at the same time, it's one of those things like, do we need to see it now? And it didn't hit me like, oh wait, yes, because the movie's coming out in 3 months.
Well, it's not. It's I got. It's. I don't think it's coming
allegedly.
I don't think it's coming.
As of now, I'm with you though.
Yeah.
I don't think the movie's coming out in 3 months either.
So.
But it's almost like if it were hypothetically coming out in 3 months, it's that thing of like, look, we literally haven't. This movie's coming out in a couple months. We need to sell it.
Yes.
We need to sell it.
Yes.
So throw the fucking, because that little bit with the sandworms at the end did not need to be in it whatsoever.
No,
it was completely unnecessary, but it was awesome.
It was fucking awesome.
And it was just like, put it in there. We need to sell this movie. We need to get the people hyped, even though they already are. Now they're gonna be more hyped. It looked amazing. I just kept thinking of SpongeBob and Sandy running away from like a giant worm. So many things came to mind.
What's the worm in SpongeBob?
It's an Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah.
It was an Alaskan bullworm.
How do I know these things? But yeah, that and I thought a tremor, like so many like just stuff came into my mind. I thought of the Sarlacc pit. I'm like, is Boba Fett gonna fly out of this worm's mouth?
Well, that was the dope thing too, because you remember there's the before we get the sandworm in all of his glory at the very end, there's a shot in the middle of the trailer, and it's one of those blink and you miss it, you don't realize, but it's actually a sandworm. It looks like it's eating one of the ships.
Yeah, it is,
and it's fucking terrifying, but awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it's like Sarlacc pit.
It looks like a Sarlacc pit. Yeah,
a little Starship Trooper vibes.
Yep.
Like just so much stuff that came to mind, but. The worm looked awesome. The cinematography looks awesome. The color palette looks awesome. The cast is insane. I already know Jason Momoa is gonna die, and I'm gonna cry.
Well, I don't know if his character dies, but you know what's awesome about it though is that like as soon as Jason Momoa comes on screen, he's like yelling, he's like, Paul,
he's
my
being
God,
Jason
he's
Momoa.
being Jason Momoa.
He's being Jason Momoa. Like that's really what it is. And it's like in this trailer, it's like you said, it's like it's very serious and gloomy and brooding. And the second he comes on, yeah. Like, it's like, my man. All right. It's like right away, and you're just like, yes.
Well, and I was gonna say too, like this is classic, like Denis Villeneuve, like aesthetic and like his style, because you just have a lot of characters in these dark rooms with like shadows and just brooding and everything. So I'm like, oh, this is definitely a Denis movie.
So good. I loved the behind the back shot of when it's opening.
Oh, the ship's opening.
Yeah,
you get all the
Yep. Oh my god, it's so good. And I love that I haven't read the novels. My one friend Ella, shout out to Ella, love you. We were always talking about this movie. She's read the novel, so she's like constantly like yelling at me. She's like, "Did you read it yet? Did you read it yet?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't."
I kind of want to at this point.
I
like,
want to
wait,
but I haven't had I didn't really know what the story was about, so to speak. I haven't seen the original one.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we got more sense of a story, it just looks like it's crazy. Betrayal, war, planets, space.
It's a little Game of Thrones-esque,
epic,
which might be where Game of Thrones got its inspiration from. In terms of like the two families.
Is that a thing though? Do you know?
I don't know if that's a thing. I'm just assuming because it has just very similar vibes, and I know Dune came first. Right. So
and that one snippet of Stellan Skarsgård, who looks like he's going to be the main antagonist, and he's like, kill it, like whatever he says, like, kill him, or I don't care, like some crazy bullshit.
And I'm guessing Batista's also a villain in this one too.
But I think Jason Momoa and his classic guardian warrior style is going to go out defending Timothée Chalamet, because that's my man.
That's my man.
Yeah, so that's how I see it. And I also think Oscar Isaac's gonna bite it. Like this guy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
definitely.
he's gonna get Eddard Stark. Definitely. It's like early on in the movie.
Yeah.
That's like at the end of the first act, they're gonna Eddard Stark his head off. But yeah, I'm so excited.
Well, that was the other thing that this trailer really highlighted, was just this insane cast. Just a fucking wild cast.
It's so good, but it's not just like it's like, yes, it's your big blockbuster cast. It definitely is. Oscar Isaac, Star Wars, Jason Momoa, Aquaman.
But even that,
Zendaya, Spider-Man.
Because you also just have like your awesome character actors in this too.
But that's what it is. It's like these blockbuster stars, but that are very almost character driven.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jason Momoa, whatever, like his sort of projects that he's done on his own, and he's like directed, and he's done these other projects. Like it's him kind of exploring himself as like an actor or whatever. So I think the guy is a really good actor. I just think like his just larger than life persona kind of overshadows that.
It definitely does, for sure.
Yeah, but then like I said, these actors, and I say actors, not actress, because the word actress is nonsensical. Like Zendaya, like she's obviously in Spider-Man, but she's just done so many other things that just kind of, it's just these actors that can really sort of drive movies and stories from like a character standpoint, and like. Yeah, this cast is amazing.
Yeah, and I love seeing Josh Brolin in here too, teaming up again, with Denis Villeneuve, because they've obviously, between like with Sicario, they just do awesome work together. So that's really fun to see.
Batista's reuniting. Well, we didn't get to see the small chin.
We actually don't see David Desmalchin in this. Which
in classic Desmalchin form, he'll probably have a small role. He'll probably be on screen for 6 minutes, and then he'll bounce out.
I hope not. I hope he's in it for longer than that.
But that's not his thing, though.
I know.
Yeah, he's always like the little small role. And he talked to us. We're best friends. That was awesome.
Dude, I'm ready to start the David Desmalchin fan club. I'll start it. I don't care.
The fan page?
Yeah, the fan page.
I'll start it. I'll do it. That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, and then other than that, we kind of got a sense of some of the massive scale action we're going to have. But if you think this is going to be an action movie, I would pump the brakes a little bit, because that's not Denis' style. He has action in his films, but they're more story driven. It's more a result of how the story's driving the action, not so much needing an action scene in a movie.
Which is how it should be.
Yeah. But at the same point, I always get worried about this, because I feel like people are going to go into it, and when they don't get like your typical, like there's going to be long stretches in this movie where it's characters talking, a lot of epic wide shots with the Hans Zimmer's music swelling, you know what I mean? Like
very story driven.
Exactly. If it's anything like Blade Runner, I'm assuming it's going to be just like Blade Runner 2049.
In terms of how it's structured.
With more action. But I think it'll have more action than Blade Runner 2049, but just like I'm expecting more of that, because that's what Blade Runner, it's more like, a moody kind of.
No, I totally agree.
Character-driven
That's
story.
kind of how I felt though since day one.
Yeah,
I kind of felt like it was going to be like a little bit of a slower, more
just for those general audiences looking for your typical blockbuster, it's not going to be that.
Like Kev.
Yes, like Kev. Shout out, Kev. Kid doesn't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, but idiot.
Useless!
No, but yeah, that's how I agree with you. That's already in my mind. It's like, look, it's going to be more of like, there are going to be moments in this movie that are just going to be a slow burn.
Oh yeah.
And you got
to take it all in.
I'm going to take all those slow burn hot dogs to the face.
It's going to be like
I love it.
2 hour and 45 minute, it has to be a long movie. I can't imagine
it has to be at least 2 hours and a half.
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't picture it being anything less than that. How much was Blade Runner? Like right around that, right? It was like 2.5
Blade
hours.
Runner was I think Blade Runner was 245, I think.
Was it 249?
Ah.
We are so clever.
Hilarious.
Funniest people you know. But yeah, I'm expecting this to be long. I'm expecting it to be awesome. Can't wait. Can't wait.
I can't wait either.
Yeah, we've been, and I love how there was literally 3 fucking trailers to the trailer.
Yes.
Like
we have a trailer for the trailer. Well, because we got a trailer for the trailer when we saw Tenet.
Yes.
They showed like a 60-second like preview, like the trailer coming September 9th,
awesome.
which was really cool.
And I started losing my shit in the theater. I was like, oh my god, it's happening. And then we got the again, Game of Thrones, the Man of Many Faces.
Yes.
Where it was like the flashing of all the faces going across. And then we got one this morning when it was like a countdown. It was like in less than 1 hour.
Right.
And it's like, I'm like, Jesus.
And then we got a pre-show for the trailer.
Yeah.
Because they did like that live Twitter show with all the actors came in and talked about the movie. Man, they're all in on this,
going
man.
all out. And I love it.
Yeah, but this looks absolutely epic.
Looks
definitely
incredible.
The most anticipated whenever the fuck it comes out, because I saw with rumors in the Twittersphere that when with Tenet's lower box office that they're gonna push Wonder Woman and Dune.
But the thing is that I understand from a business standpoint, like I get why they're kind of thinking that way, because they're probably thinking like, dude, if Nolan's not gonna put butts in seats, then is Wonder Woman going to do it?
Right.
Is Denis Villeneuve going to do it?
Right.
I mean, it's going to put our butts in seats for sure.
Yeah.
But when you think of the general audience and then like you said, the current climate of how everyone's kind of perceiving things.
Yes.
And their precautions, so to speak. We'll see.
Yeah.
See. Whenever we get it, though, I'm going to be there.
Right.
Front and center.
And at least we have this trailer to watch
popcorn
50 more times.
And nachos and soda. Ready, baby. So ready.
Well, speaking of that, Martin, and your love of snacks.
Snacks.
We did go back to the movie theaters this weekend.
Yes, we did.
We saw Tenet and we saw New Mutants, if you guys hadn't guessed by now. But
it was an adventure.
It was an adventure. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be back in a movie theater. We talked a little bit about this during our Tenet review, that the theater did a really good job of being very precautious, very clean. They had really good in terms of social distancing when you're in the theater. They had, the floors were all marked up in terms of staying distant. I believe the ticket kiosks had plexiglass up. It was it was the whole nine. Had to wear your mask constantly.
No touching shit. Everything was being scanned.
Yep. They gave you disinfectant wipes to wipe your seat down if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Obviously,
Lysol at every corner imaginable.
Yeah. The theater has like this thing now where it's like that. This new machine where it's supposed to like disinfect without having to like spray. It's like that, like, I don't know if you saw anything for this.
I didn't actually miss that. No.
Did you? All right, hold on, wait. Let me, a few moments later, this.
A few moments later.
And we're back.
And we're back. It's called electrostatic disinfectant sprayers.
That was at the theater?
That was apparently at the theater. Auditoriums are disinfected before each show with these new electrostatic disinfectant sprayers. This cutting-edge equipment maximizes surface coverage by using negatively charged ions so that the disinfectant particles wrap around and cling to positively charged surfaces.
Science.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Science, baby. That's like some fucking Tenet shit.
Remember that Jimmy Neutron movie when he comes home from school and he goes in that tube? And he's disinfect. That's
That's it.
That's pretty much what they had.
Yep.
But yeah, you like, oh, dude, the second I walked in and I smelled that popcorn, I was like, oh my God.
I'm home.
I am home. I can't believe I never knew how much I could miss a carpet, but I did. seeing that fucking stupid carpet that I've seen
Yeah,
a gazillion
Martin
times.
dropped to the floor and rubbed his face in the carpet.
I did. I was like rolling around like Peter with the puppies. I was just all over that carpet. And yeah, it was fun. The buying your ticket is also, I like how they did it. So essentially, the second you get your seat, everything around you gets X off right away.
Yes.
So that was one of my issues of how they were going to go about with selling tickets online. But yeah, shit was closed out to enforce social distancing. Everything was handed to you from behind the counter. So if you got snacks, if you got drinks, if you got popcorn, they all took care of it and they handed it to you to avoid any like outside contact.
Right, and all the workers were wearing masks. They were wearing gloves, so they were being as clean as they possibly could.
And I'm pretty sure that both movies, there wasn't anyone within like maybe 15 feet of us.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly because no one's really going to the movie theaters.
Well,
but at the same
too,
time,
yeah.
Even if so.
Although I do feel, I mean, would you say that Tenet was probably as packed as it could have gotten? Because it did fill up, not like fill up in the sense that like, oh, this theater's packed, but just like in thinking about how they were doing the social distancing, I was like, okay, there's a group here, and then there's a group over here, and there's a group here, and I'm like, if we're equally distancing everybody, I feel like it was like maxed out in terms of how many people could have been there.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I was so thinking about how awesome New Mutants was, so I probably couldn't.
Oh yeah. I know that's exactly what you were thinking.
Figure out exactly. I don't have those sort of mental images that I took.
Don't lie to the people, man.
Yeah, it was not good. We'll do a review on it later.
Maybe.
I guess we'll give you a heads up. Although that girl though was named Blue Hunt. It's my baby.
Yeah.
It's my boo.
It's your boo.
It's my new crush. It's my new weekly crush for the week of September 9th.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun to be back. Insert Tony Stark reference. Oh, it's good to be back.
Oh, it's good to be back.
And hopefully we'll see more movies.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to be in theaters going forward now. You know, we can go see the Broken Hearts Gallery maybe.
Dak Montgomery, what are you doing? I
knew I was going to set you off.
High hopes for you after Power Rangers. I saw Power Rangers. I'm like, this guy is going to be a star. I thought him and Naomi Scott had a great. I'm like, they're gonna blow up. I just know it.
Yep.
And he did Stranger Things, so I was like, yes, you're on the right path. And then you're doing this stupid movie.
This cheesy romantic comedy.
Hey, for all we know, it could be amazing.
Could be.
Could be.
But
yeah, I guess if we ever end up watching it, we'll let you guys know.
But yeah, I've reserved myself to the fact that I'm just gonna go see Tenet like 5 more times, just because there's gonna be like nothing else to see.
All right, I'll see it with you a couple months from now.
Okay, that's
fine. Couple months.
Like maybe we'll go see it in May.
Yeah, maybe we'll go see it in December. Maybe we'll go see it in April. Who knows? Inversion. For as mixed on the movie as I was, I've been doing inversion jokes out the ass.
Yes.
So that Nolan effect, so to speak.
The Nolan effect. Well, that's also something too. Like it's that movie's definitely made for the screen. You know, regardless of the issues I have with like its audio mix, I do want to see it in a regular theater because I want to see if the audio is different. I keep hearing that people are saying that like there's been instances where people have gone to see it and they've had no problem hearing the dialogue. So that makes me curious as to, you know, if that's the case. You know, because I want to hear this one dialogue. But I am excited to go see it again. I can't wait to go see it again, and I am going to go back to the movies because the way they've been doing it, it's been fine. And
the little sample size that we got
was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Except for when we stepped out and I started dying from fucking allergies.
Yeah. You're hitting that shit season.
The ass eating season, aka allergy season.
Yeah.
It's not fun, bro. My nose is clogged right now. My ears I don't know if you noticed, I've scratched my ears like 5 times.
I noticed that.
Like it's itchy. It's itchy up in there.
Martin's gonna start sounding congested on the podcast.
Yeah, I have really bad allergies, guys, and it's going to if you didn't like my voice, you're in for a ride. Because it's about to get a lot worse. But yeah, hopefully y'all will stick around.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Anything else, Martin, you want to add before we wrap this shit up?
No, just kind of a little recap that we had some audio issues in the beginning, so hopefully it got fixed. If you think our audio is shit to begin with, then hey, you're in the right spot. It won't be any different to you. And yeah, thank you for joining us. And I know that our DC fandom episode is beefy as fuck.
Yeah.
I know that. But it's hilarious.
Yeah, Martin put a lot of time into
production team.
Putting references and
thing 1 and thing 2.
All kinds of things in there.
Did a really good job of cutting it together. And there's a lot of good flavor, a lot of good nuggets in there. So If you want to break it up, watch 40 minutes, and then 40 minutes again. Hey.
Yeah.
Or if you don't, because you don't give a shit, that's fine. But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out because it is long, but it's a really good episode.
It is a very good episode.
Really good episode. Mm-hmm.
All right, let me do this outro so we can close this bitch out.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Me too. That does it for us, Nerds Nation. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube page. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else where you can see that big, beautiful FN logo. Mm-hmm. I guess that's it.
Yeah, good. Closest because I want to turn the air conditioner back on. I am sweating. It is hot up in here.
Did you soak your paper towel?
I don't know. How bad is it? It's not that bad.
It's not that bad?
It's not that bad, no. A little emergency towelette.
That does it for us, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.